Hey everyone, it's Desiree, and I am here with Scrappy Tails, and I am going to create a trifold using this die set. We've got some beautiful sunflowers, and they're 2 layers, and then there's 2 layers for the center, and then we've got some leaves that are also 2 layers. We have this frame, a sentiment, and also a strip for the spine. This is also great with the A7 book pop-up that Sabrina has in her shop, but I'm going to show you how you can just make using your cardstock. So grab your supplies and let's get started. So let's get started cutting our 2 bases that we'll need for the folio. I'm using 2 sheets of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. This is heavyweight, 110 pound, and I'm cutting them to 7 inches by 10 inches. We're then going to score them along the 10-inch side at 4 3/4 and 5 1/4. So it's going to give us a 1/2 inch spine for the trifold. Now, you could just make this a very basic book. You don't have to add the trifold to it. That's completely your choice on how you want to construct your photo trifold or just folio. When it comes to this die set, you also get not only the frame and the sunflowers, but you get this strip that you can use for the spine. It is perfect for that when you do that score of a 1/2 inch. I've cut the spine and the frames in black heavyweight cardstock. We're going to do the same thing that we did to the first folio to the second. Once we have the frame in the front and the 2 spines together, we are then going to glue these 2 folios together. Now, you want to make sure, of course, that you're going, your 2 spines are on each side. You also want to test how it folds up. And when you line up the 2 folios together, you want to make sure you're not crossing over the score line, or else it won't fold right. When you check the folds, you want to make sure that they're not touching, meaning the trifold that's coming in to the right, to the left, isn't touching along the side. You want it to have a little bit of gap, so you may have to trim just some of it off. When it comes to the frames, I'm just putting the glue along the bottom and the outer edges. I'm not covering the top, nor am I covering the entire side. By doing this, we're creating a pocket frame. And you'll see what I mean on that once we get to the end of the video and we walk through it at normal speed. On the inside, you can do many things. You can continue with frames. I think that would be really cool. So you would be able to have, 1 on the cover, 1 on the inside cover, and then 3 on the inside for a total of 5 photos. And this will fit a photo of 4 by 6 or just a little bit larger. So you may always have to trim down your photos to fit into the frames. Now I'm just measuring the pockets. The 2 pockets on the side measure 6 3/4 by 2 1/2, and then the center pocket measures 4 3/4 by 3 1/2, and these are flat pockets. I'm also using pattern paper from the paper collection of Scrappy Tails called Life is a Story. And I'm using that to accent. So I go down 1/4 of an inch. So for the long side pockets, when the base measures 6 3/4, I'm going to cut the pattern paper at 6 1/2, and then I'm going to cut it at 2 1/4 because that black pocket measures 2 1/2. I'm going to layer these on top of the black mats, and then we're going to get them inside of our folio. So the first one's going to go into the back center, and then we'll create or place the two along the side. So you can use these pockets again to add more photos. You can put your photos in on mats and put them in these pockets. These can hold other memories, receipts, notes, anything like that. And that's how we constructed the folder. So very simple, very basic shapes, and you can make it any size that you want. I dug into my stash for a lot of my ink smushed backgrounds that I have in there, and I started die cutting the sunflowers. So I die cut the base of the sunflower using the ink smushed backgrounds, as you can see, and then I used a deep gold, like a golden yellow, for the top. Now, I'm not worried about lining this up. I think it adds character when you don't line up the two dies. And I'm just placing the top over the ink smush background. So you get these different color variations for each of the sunflowers. And I'm just putting glue in the center. I am not looking to put any glue along the outer edges. I like it when if they curl up, I think it adds dimension and texture when I do that. Now that I have all of these layered, I'm going to grab the larger circle for the center, and I'm going to get that set in place. And that was cut from a medium brown, and then the smaller circle was cut from a darker brown. And I'm going to place that on top of the medium brown, maybe in the center, maybe off-centered. Just getting those placed down onto the sunflowers. And then that will complete the flower part. I did also die cut the leaves, and they are a 2-part leaf as well as the flowers. And we're going to get those together. So I chose a couple different greens and just die cut. And all of these cardstocks that I used for my die cutting are from my scraps, which to me is a great thing. Use up those scraps. I keep digging in there, and it puts a smile on my face when I see that I am doing that. I'm only putting glue down the center of the layering die, and I'm just placing that onto the bases. So the layer will either be a little bit darker that's on top, or it'll be the same color. That way it just adds a little bit of texture to each of the leaves. Now I don't have too many leaves, but I do have enough with what I'm looking to do, because again, looking to keep the areas as the pockets, keeping the areas that are the frames as well. So we'll just finish up these. Then once we get these done, we will start putting them into our folio. So now we get to play with the placement. So I have a total of 10 of the sunflowers. Now, when I place the sunflowers down on the black frames, I want to make sure that the glue is only on the black frame. You can see I'm testing with a strip of pattern paper to make sure that the sunflower is not glued down. Now, if it was, it's not a big deal. You know, you'll just have that gap with the photo, or you could even use the sunflower as a tuck where you could go underneath that and just let that black show behind the photo. So you have lots of options with this. You don't have to necessarily slide a photo down the frame. For the two side pockets, I'm going to add 2 sunflowers, and for the center, we're going to add our third. And I'm just going to go throughout and just tuck a few of the leaves around the sunflowers, just popping them underneath. For the inside, I'm making sure that I'm staying within the folds so that nothing will bend. For the back, I'm just adding the one and a couple leaves, and that's where I'm going to put our sentiment. When it comes to this die set, it does come with a sentiment, and I die cut the cloud 3 times to give it a chipboard effect, and then I die cut the sentiment top part only once, just to put that on top. And then once that's placed, we're going to set that above in the back on an angle, just above the sunflower. You can see here we've got our pockets. Using this piece of cardstock, you can see that we have our frames, and these are all the areas to tuck our items in. And again, even on the front and the back, you've got the sunflower that can also be used as a tuck spot as well. So kind of a different project here today with Scrappy Tails, and as always, I hope you enjoyed it. The products that I used will be listed down below if you wanted to check them out, and any questions that you may have, please make sure you leave those down below as well, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Love for you to hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and remember to ring the bell for notifications, and hopefully you will get notified that the next video is up and ready for you to watch. Enjoy the art that you make and enjoy the process. Don't get frustrated. And when you do, just walk away and come back to it with fresh eyes. But most of all, remember, always be creative in everything that you do. Stay safe and healthy, and I will talk to you in the next one. Take care.